Hello, welcome to Dissident Canada. My name is Tyler. The Iran-Israeli war, with the Americans' involvement, continues to grow in scope. As I am recording this on Tuesday, there seems to be a quite substantial, counterattack, retaliation strikes, however you want to define it, from the Iranians against looks like U.S. targets around the Middle East. Um, it's not the best outcome, but before I get into the topic of the amount of propaganda that's about to be unleashed, um, when it comes to Iran and specifically Trump in his first term after killing Soleimani, there was a token strike that was allowed to happen that saved face, at least for a little bit, for the Iranians. Now, this could be what's going on. There could be more of that. Like, this could be very calculated counterstrikes, retaliatory strikes that look big, but aren't actually escalatory. It's just a way to calm things down. This has happened before. As I said, Trump has done this himself after Soleimani. That is a potential, and if I'm looking at the trends of the CAD USD trade, the US dollar index, the DXY, and the prices of oil currently right now, they are CAD USD is continuing back up to its upward trend, which if you want to go find out why that could potentially be happening, go check my Rumble channel. I have something about currency, bonds, and what's going on with crypto at the same time. DXY is returning to its downward trend, which that ties into why CAD's going up, and oil is tentatively trending down. It looks like it's hit a peak and it's going down, at least on the, I'm looking on the monthly chart, the let's see, the daily. Oh yeah, definite trend down, but things don't move in a straight line, so whatever. But to the topic, it's the propaganda machine. All right, the propaganda machine, after spectacularly failing to drum up war support prior to the strikes, as you can see by the amount of very vocal online, well, I guess it would be arguments, to say the least, of cautioning, to say the least, about striking Iran and the consequences with, if you're going to do this, you need to have a clear end goal, and it's not fucking working out that way so far. So, anyways, but if you look at what's on the line for certain industries, we can talk about the MIC specifically. Like, you're talking about trillions of dollars, trillions upon trillions of dollars in the next, say, 10, 20 years, because realistically, it's going to be a 20 to 40-year war to pacify Iran if they go in. The terrain is that bad for an invasion in Iran. Like, you thought Afghanistan was bad? Iran's also pretty bad. They can get, and like, it's not going to be just a war with Iran, all right? We're already hearing leaks from specifically the Pakistanis, but also it appears the North Koreans as well are saying, hey, if you need it, we are up to negotiating to giving you at least a nuclear weapon. The Russians have also, or Medvedev has come out and said, yeah, we might be looking at it too, because like, we can't have this go on, right? The calculus of nuclear proliferation is always going to be recalculated in a situation like this. How many times can someone who is an ally of mine get repeatedly attacked with increasing ferocity before I give them a deterrent because they are a strategic player in my objectives? Okay? Always think about that. Anyways, trillions of dollars are on the line for defense contractors and so on and so forth. You know, those fake intel companies that pretend to be the CIA but are much more retarded. Hard to believe, but it is what it is. So suspect that people who are extremely pro-war. I'm not saying they're cool with striking the nuclear sites. That is a different sect. I'm talking about the people who are saying, no, we need to do more. We have to break Iran. We have to regime change. Those people. Say the Mark Levins of the world, potentially the Dave Rubins. I'm not saying for sure. I'm saying we can suspect that someone is going to give people like them a whole shit ton of money. Okay? Like, you could realistically spend on a campaign to drum up support for war from just the MIC. All right? I'm not talking about like CIA dark money hedge funds, anything like that. Just the MIC could spend upwards of $250 million. All right, in what is publicity spending for war, because the upside is more than a 10x return. All right, we are talking ungodly amounts of money and ungodly amounts of profit. Like, everybody, I think, knows the story of the U.S. procurement chain when they did their audit like over a decade ago, and they found $15 hammers being sold to the U.S. military for $100 and something. All right, like bolts that were 5 cents were being sold for $10 or $15. Like, it's that high of a grift. So the war will be for your mind before it is a boots on the ground operation or continued strikes, air operations, naval operations. And the fact that Trump was out there floating about on Truth Social with his MIGA, I am not going to say that because there is a small amount of chance that I fucked that up real bad. And then I'm going to hear it from my mother because there's this episode of South Park that has to deal with that. And I don't want to have to deal with that. Anyways, the Make Iran Great Again Truth Post. Like, the face is off, all right? They've come out and said it from multiple different neocon sources. Mark Levin, I will mention again, has straight up said it. There's a few others who have said, yeah, we should totally, maybe a regime change is necessary. Maybe we deal with this. Like, I am going to point this out, all right? Every scenario in which a regime change has really been done, all right? The guy afterwards has never been better. When you kill, the most popular out of your selection of leadership, by definition, you are killing the moderate. Who gets in after the moderates fail? The extremists. So, like, everybody here has their own objectives, all right? Mine is no war. I'll clear that up. Like, I am not, out here pimping for Iran. Fuck Iran. Fuck that. Fuck their leadership. Fuck the mullahs. Fuck the Ayatollah. Fuck all of them. Except the people. The people are okay. It's just, this can get real bad real fast. And I am technically still of the age that I can be, sent over to die in a draft. it wouldn't work. Hopefully I would fail every fucking test. Some on purpose, but some I literally can't pass. Health issues and such. Bad back. But if I'm not willing to send my ass over there, I am definitely not asking some father or mother to send their son to die over there. And it's not just going to be over there. Again, there is a decent chance that there are extremists in the West. We've seen it in Europe with, a bunch of people screaming Allahu Akbar and then doing some stupid fucking shit. All right? Whether that is with stabby stuff or with vehicles. Okay? It will get worse. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that if this escalates to one or more, belief structures in the Islamic world. It will become a religious war yet again. We have enough problems here that we need to take care of. That is my position. Other people's positions on the matter, there are probably, I have seen propaganda that is being at least supported by the Chinese communists. Whether, they're creating their own propaganda about it, who knows, but they are at least supporting Iranian propaganda. Iran, doesn't want to be destroyed. The regime doesn't want to be destroyed. So, and over here, there's people who want war because war is a really good racket. If you like, everybody is going on about their position, which is fine. But, if you're on the side of the Nikki Haley's, the Mike Pence's, the Mark Levin's, I haven't seen Douglas Murray's take, but, he helped lie us into Iraq. The war is going to be there for the people. And, right now, I'm just seeing, after this attack, I've seen my first part of it's time for the Islamic regime in Iran to see that its last days. You now have Americans under attack, it appears to be. Still fog of war for me, so I can't say definitively if these attacks are real or not. There is some information coming out from one of an Iranian source saying Iran won't leave an attack on territorial integrity, sovereignty, and national security unanswered after apparently these missile strikes. But again, keep in the back of your mind, this could be all very much a theatrics with explosions designed to look big and dangerous and escalatory, but it's a de-escalatory tactic. Again, like the response from Iran after Soleimani. But it is starting to heat up, and you are going to see, from a certain perspective of the Americans, well, you hit us, we've got to hit you back even harder. We don't take punches lying down, especially when it's a big spectacle like this looks and appears to be. So, I mean, Trump's also been making threats against Medvedev when he talked about potentially, just, you know what, if you really can't handle propaganda, maybe stay off the internet. Definitely avoid news for a little bit. Because it looks scary, but over the last year, on at least on the Rumble channel, I've been saying, yeah, these are escalatory things in practice, but when we look at it in detail, it doesn't really escalate, when I was specifically talking about Ukraine and Russia, it's like, yeah, sure, these attacks are bad, but when you really look into it, the Russians aren't going to, they're not jumping to nukes yet. That you haven't crossed that definitive line yet. You haven't backed them into a corner. They're actually backing Ukraine into a corner. And, like, this is all really about careful wording from the Trump team, either behind the scenes or to the public, on him, that he really needs to carefully craft a way out if he doesn't want to see escalations. Yeah, I'm just seeing early reports of bombing come in. So, but expect these retaliatory attacks or escalatory attacks or whatever type of strike you want to use. These, I don't want to use neutral terms because it's kind of diminishing of what it is, but expect it to be used to drum up war support at a time when we really should be backing off globally. Like, how many more wars do we need at a time? How many wars are going on in Africa at the moment? We've got at least, we've got 2 different wars on 2 different continents. We got one in Europe and now one in the Middle East, which is Asia, that could, if we continue on the escalation escalator, could potentially end up at nuclear war. Like, I'm not going to undersell this or oversell this. Like, that is a distinct possibility. When you back certain people into a corner, it's do or die. And if it's between me or you, well, it's not going to be me. That is usually the calculus that goes on. Yeah, I'm seeing condemnations, Trump in the Situation Room, blah, blah, blah. Typically what you would expect at this time. But really, what you need to be look out is for the war drums and the propaganda. Could be coming from your favorite influencer. Run everything through a filter of what reflects your values. I'm not going to say, stop war with Iran if that doesn't reflect your values. Like, to me, it's what I want. All right, war is bad. War is bad for everybody. The only people that are profit are a bunch of fucking assholes. That is the truth. So I'm not on their side. I'm not on the Iranian side. I'm not on the Israeli side. I'm on my side. I'm on the people's side because we're the ones who do the dying in this shit. Well, that's not good news. But that could also be propaganda. See, run everything through a filter. I'm not even going to say what it is because it's coming from Alex Jones, but you can disseminate information to Alex Jones in such a way that he broadcasts it and that it is fear-mongering. It's why I say don't trust fucking anybody. It's the simplest way to rock. Just don't trust anybody. Go by your own values and make sure they are rock solid. Okay? Because before this goes super kinetic, all right, where there is no point of return, there is going to be a war for your mind. Keep that at the forefront of your mind because that's what's going on. We saw it over the weekend. We saw it the week previous. We saw it the week before that, and we've been seeing it for 5 fucking years. It's nothing new, but it is about to ramp up because everybody's calculation behind the scenes, at least that I can see, is that a full-on war with Iran is going to, again, it's going to destabilize the region like nobody really has seen in a significant time period. Like the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan. Yes, destabilized the entire Middle East. But you really didn't see a whole pile-on effect of other countries being like, whoa, what the fuck? I need to get in on this to maintain my interests in the region. Whereas with Iran, you've got the Chinese, the Russians, the Turks, the Pakistanis, the Indians, the Egyptians, the Jordanians, the Saudis, the Yemenites, is that how you do it? The Lebanese, and every single sect of Islamic terrorists in the area is going to want to get in on this. Okay? That also doesn't include, the British have massive investments in this. The Germans also have a pretty big investment in this, and other parts of Europe as well, specifically with the price of natural gas and oil that could be really affected with this. So, just to be abundantly clear, there is going to be a war for your mind, and to drum up war support and to do escalatory things, all right? Send in, say, a frigate or something like that within territorial waters for a couple of missiles or something to hit it, a couple of, what do you call them? Sailors die, say, in this case, U.S., and then, well, you killed our guys, so now we have to bomb you into submission, but that has never worked, not even in World War II, where, the doctrine came about. The Fuhrer ran to the Fuhrer bunker and was commanding false armies. There is a fascinating story about the fall of Berlin. I cannot remember is it the 12th German Army General who fought to hold open the last bridges so that civilians, some soldiers as well, could escape Berlin before the Russians poured over. Anyways, completely different story. But before I leave it, Sabaton has a fantastic song about it if you want to learn a little bit about it. Anyways, that's going to be the video for today. Just remember, everybody's got an angle. Basically, trust nobody at this point. And more updates as we go on. Although, I will remind everybody that as I'm watching these missiles hit, WTI futures for August are down. Brent is down. We're not where we were before this shit started, but we're not that far off either. With WTI, we're $6 away or something like that. The Dixie is also going down, and CAD is going up in response. That's mostly dollar weakness, but not really weakness, but it's whatever. The 10-year was also jumped down a couple of basis points. So, the war rhetoric is there, but there appears to be, very good signals of at least more peaceful outcomes in the future. I mean, this could just be a collapse of demand, but to happen so suddenly after something that could spike it, I don't think so. Always look to markets for answers about big geopolitical questions, because insiders always move the markets in their direction before anything happens. Every time. So if you watch, say, maybe Lockheed Martin or Northrop Grumman, or however the hell it's pronounced. I cannot remember. I could see the word. I can't fucking whatever. Anyways, look at their stock prices. If it does a dippy-doo, then you can expect someone in the know is shorting the shit out of it. It's just how it goes. Always watch markets. You get a good indication of what the fuck's going on. That's the video for today. See you tomorrow with something. Keep your mind protected from the propaganda, at least for a little bit. Let the chips fall for a little bit. Or go on the internet and be a warrior for your side. Hopefully you're on my side, but that's just because I think peace is always the better option, even though it's significantly more difficult. But nothing, always the best outcomes for you and for the world are the hardest to achieve. So keep that in mind. See you in the next video with something.